getting studies. I'm a sucker for somebody saying, buy this thing on the internet. I just bought a whole 33 lectures on the microbiome of your gut, and that's where a lot of the research is going now. And so, I love that stuff. So.
And like we're both obviously kind of nerds because I just did like a week-long summit online about like leaky gut and things like that. So definitely kind of on that, but it's perfect right now. There's so many things online and stuff, and like so I have like a membership on MedBridge, which I think is more physical therapy based, but there's constant courses on there that I'm watching and stuff. But then I also have courses that I plan on going to and things like that. I haven't had to submit any CEUs yet and stuff, but I have them planned out and trips planned for those. But where like I'm kind of physical therapy, but a lot of what I do physical therapy, I'm also a personal trainer, so I kind of try to tie both of those. So there's definitely a lot of different weight loss with fertility is something I really like, and a lot of like gut health or hormones, metabolism, things like that. So I really try. There are so many like online summits that just are lectures, and a lot of professionals that you can just watch and pay for and have these podcasts and things like that. And so it's really stuff that you could choose wherever you want to go for it. I definitely would always recommend going to like actual courses for your actual CEUs, and not just like printing out a certificate or anything. But there's endless options, and sometimes it's nice to just like read a book for fun, but a lot of times it's just more like nerdy things like that. So, which is weird because I was not like that in school. So.
It's passion.
No.
That's what that is. Any other brain busters out front, or anything else interested that you guys want to know about outside of us just jibber jabbering all day? Yeah.
How did you pick like basically your employees, like people who go around you to help start your business? How did you go about that?
Oh, I love this one. I got lucky with a few of mine, and the one I have right now, we were going to church up at Good Shepherd, and she happens to be the wife's pastor's wife at the time, and so we went to the new person gathering, whatever it is, and she just happened to be there because they moved into town, and that's what she decided to do that day. And so I told her that I really like to work with older women because they know themselves, and they can tell me when I need to do something. They're not worried about hurting my feelings, and we have a better demeanor. And I was looking for an employee at the time, and she told me she was a publicist. So she ran a big publicist firm out in the cities for a long time, and so she's just looking for some part-time stuff. And so I asked her if she wanted to work there, and she was like, "Oh, we'll come and chat." And she's been with me ever since. But after that, we went back to our little pods, our families, and so they asked, "What did you learn about the other people?" And so it was her turn, and she goes, "Well, I just met Joel Roloff. He's a chiropractor out of Just Life, and he has a real affinity for older women." She's done talking. And so everybody, I thought that was hilarious, and she actually called me later. She was so embarrassed that she said that. But we've had a great relationship ever since, and so I found that to be great, and I've had great success, just meeting people in public, and a lot of times talking to people the first few seconds if you're going to mesh. Outside of that, it's newspapers and internets and all these sorts of other things just to bring people in, resumes, but yeah, you gotta find what's going to mesh with your personality. So
yeah, it's definitely very you gotta listen to your gut on it, and already like my gut's been wrong sometimes and stuff, but we've gotten that taken care of. But that's probably my least favorite part about the business side is employees, because you are a huge part of their life. Like, they rely on you for a lot of things, and it's a lot of pressure as an employer, and you don't realize how much that does depend on you, and a lot of the questions that come is like, wow, I really have an impact on your life, and things like that. And but it is a huge personality thing, and I think if you just find like, okay, what's your passion, and like if that's the main question you ask, and they don't know anything about you. So like I got really lucky, and I had a lot of people come to me. I didn't really have to post for jobs, or I didn't have to do any of that. And so like I always kind of purposely tried to keep Proximo kind of quiet in the beginning, because then if people reached out, they would have no idea what my passion was. So then they wouldn't just, you know, because some people will do like research and they read your mission and read, you know, and then like try to say it just to, and then they come in the first day and they're a totally different person than they were in the interview, and you're like, whoa, I totally read this wrong. And so I, you know, early on I tried to not really let a lot of that stuff out, because I wanted my employees to come with what their passion was, and then how it would line up with mine. Like half of my employees were people that I reached out to, that I had connections with from working as a personal trainer for 6 years throughout school. And, you know, and there were a lot of people that were frustrated, and they had the same passion, and but were frustrated where they currently were, and I was lucky enough to fool them into coming over. And but then the other people, it was weird, like when I would really feel like I needed this, it just happened, and it just would keep, the right person just kept coming, and things like that. And so it was really something that I think I really lucked out on, and I have a really good team that saw something that was different and that they were wanting to do. But yeah, managing employees is definitely the hardest part, and all the benefits that come in, and all the small things here and there. And then I have 3 people that are pregnant, and so it's like, oh my gosh, you know, so a bunch of crazy stuff with employees. But I know, don't drink the water. So employee-wise, it's definitely a lot of pressure, because picking the right people, because then if it's not the right person, it's a hard position to be in, to be like, this isn't what my company needs. You know, you have to be selfish with that, but then you're also know you're having a huge impact on someone's life. So I would say that's probably the hardest part for me right now.
Yeah. Growing that network is so huge, and fostering those relationships. Don't just meet somebody, you know, send them a card or give them a phone call. Or have them, all this fancy stuff you can do now. I'm not good with the Facebook and all those things, and so you have so many opportunities to connect to people now. It's a great route to take versus, you know, sending out in the paper and other things. And I've had good luck this last time with our employee that's been with us for about 8 months now. She's working out really well. That was from the paper, but most of the other ones are relationships that have come in and out of the office, and they've all worked well in their own ways. So yeah. Anything else?
I have one. Both of you have, I'm gathering, I've not taken the time, it's on me, to visit Tana's organization. I'm familiar with yours, Dr. Joel, but they take on your personality. Did you, when you started your business, did you know exactly what you wanted it to look like? What, not physically, but how people would feel, and did you have a mission in mind at all, or did it just kind of roll out as you opened?
You should have a mission. You should have something that you say to people, because everybody wants to ask you their question. What do you do? And have 30 seconds worth of something you say, you know, and then pass it back on to them, because people love telling their stories, and so that way you can show your care. But I had a goal in mind, an idea, but it turned out different. And I'm more of a doer, an active personality profiles call me I'm an achiever, and so I'm not very good at planning and visualizing things. That's when my wife comes in, and so I'm just, if there's something to do, I'm going to do it. And like Tana said, if I'm not busy, I'm pacing the hallways at home, and I don't know, I'm glad I have kids now, because I stress myself, my wife out so much when I'm just pacing the hallways with nothing to do. I'll go run around or do something, and now I have kids to play with. It's way more fun. But yeah, so I had a goal in mind, or a vision in mind, and I'm in a really good place, but it's not where I started. I started as kind of a purist. Everybody needs to be doing X, Y, Z, and I realized that people aren't like that. And so I meet people halfway. Kind of like Tana said, you got to be a teammate with your patients, with your people. You can't just say do this and expect it to happen. You got to work with them when they're in, and meet them halfway. And it's a lot more successful growing that relationship that way. So
99% of what my idea was. And I think we're opposite in the fact that I saw the end result and had no idea how to get there. And so I so many small steps to get to that end result. And so basically, you know, for 6 months before we opened, we were meeting in one of my employees' basements, you know, every day during the week and stuff, and getting things ready. And without them like taking little tidbits of, it's pretty much, this is what I want. And then it's like, I don't know how to get there. And you know, so then everybody just taking different things and all the steps to get to that. But it's definitely it's better than I probably could have imagined. It's happening, and now that, you know, 3 months in, you're seeing those people who are like, this is the longest I've like stuck with it, or this is, you know, you're starting to hear like that your idea wasn't crazy and that it's starting to have an impact and that people are feeling comfortable. You know, because sometimes your environment, you don't realize it, but it's actually really intimidating, or, you know, certain places where people want to go to get healthier things, they're intimidated by and stuff. And so that was a big goal of ours, so I think we're being successful with that. But yeah, I do think it has a little bit of everyone's personality in it, but it's definitely something that's been fun for people to, you're starting to see that it's latching on and that people are catching on and that they're, you know, kind of giving their own little testimonials now. That's something that's really exciting to see.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you kind of see what Tana's talking about, she's growing, she's giving people ownership in the idea and building the steps along the way, and doing that's so important.
Delegating
Yeah.
is huge.
So yeah, then everybody comes closer, and they think, you know, then everybody's part of the process of the project, and you know, delegating versus ordering is the big word, and he's very good at that, growing those relationships. So.
Any other questions?
What's your guys' mission statements? Like, what do you guys tell people? Like, why should you come to me?
Okay, good.
You learn scripts as you go, and there's things you say to people all the time and everything, but I don't know.
Give your elevator speech.
Yeah, your elevator speech. That I haven't said it in about 4 years. I've gotten to the point where people they'll always come to you, oh yeah, I need a chiropractor, and I get told that probably 9 times out of 10. Okay, and we have that conversation, and then they'll be in eventually when guys can't do their job or play golf, and women can't take care of kids or their family. Those are things that, and I don't say that to, you know, build people or put them down, but that's kind of what drives people. And so I say, you know, that's what I do. When you're ready to take a step, then I'm there for you. And my mission statement, oh boy, I'm a chiropractor. I set bones in place, and I work with the nerve system, and so everything that goes on in the body is controlled by the brain, the spine, and the nerves that come off of the spine. From a cut on your arm to, you know, peeling disc in your neck, you gotta work with the nerve system to keep that in control. If that's not your primary goal, then you're not going to get there as fast. So that's what I do. And so that's what I find important, and that's where I put all my eggs there. So yeah.
For proximal, it's definitely kind of a more concept type of thing, because you know, ideally we want somebody to be working on, you know, the physical part, the mental part, the nutritional part, you know, and the self-care part. Self-care is huge for us. So, and it kind of just goes to telling you how the Proximal 50 became Proximal 50, and it's pretty deep. But, so the number 50 represents combining body, soul, mind, and spirit to live a fuller life. That's like the representation of 5, and 0 ties that meaning to eternity. And proximal for all you anatomy people means closer to. So it's kind of, you know, getting closer to that idea of 50. And so for us, you know, we kind of just explain that, and it's, you know, it's not just exercising, it's not just eating right, you know, and if you're eating right, you know, but your mind's not there, you know, so we try to get the mind right first and then go for the body or something. And so if we are setting up like a 3-month thing, personal trainer or physical therapist might not touch them for the first month. They might be working with our wellness coach and getting food right, you know, so it's a very individualized thing. So we definitely just try